What we're looking at here is a tick I found crawling on me when I was hiking on the Appalachian Trail. As near as I can determine, there are 3 general types of ticks that can be found along the Appalachian Trail, and any of the 3 are capable of giving a human any of a variety of diseases, all of them unpleasant, and some of them have the potential to kill the victim or cause a lifelong disability. So we're going to talk about ticks, steps that can be taken to avoid problems with ticks, and other problems you might face from insects on the Appalachian Trail. I have not been bitten by a tick on the Appalachian Trail, but I've certainly had them crawling on me. And to minimize problems with ticks, I can offer 2 basic pieces of advice, one of which is to carry an insect repellent in case we think we need it, and the second one is to make sure that we wear underwear. Now why, one might ask, would anybody entertain the idea of hiking without underwear? During summer months, the heat, the humidity, and a level of exertion on the Appalachian Trail can make a hiker sweat profusely. It's fairly routine under these circumstances for a hiker to wear as little clothes as modesty will permit, and under these conditions it doesn't take much imagination to think one might stay cooler if we skip the underwear. I'll try to put this delicately. If we do hike on the Appalachian Trail without underwear, we run the risk of having ticks crawling around where our underwear otherwise would have been. I tried hiking without underwear for several days on the Appalachian Trail, and that is exactly what happened to me. I should have known better because before I tried that experiment, once or twice I noticed a tick or 2 near the waistband of my underwear. As it turned out, that waistband was a barrier keeping the ticks from where they wanted to go. One does not have to go charging through the underbrush to pick up ticks along the Appalachian Trail. If we hike far enough, from time to time we won't be able to avoid brushing against vegetation. And if we camp in the woods, under the trees, with vegetation on the ground, that's another place where ticks can find us. I have always carried insect repellent on the Appalachian Trail, but I have not always worn it. If, on the other hand, I was not at a prepared campsite, and I was camping among the trees, then I would use some insect repellent. A very common ingredient of insect repellent is DEET, D-E-E-T. Some insect repellents contain 100% DEET, and I avoid those because I have seen how 100% DEET can melt plastic and can take the varnish off the gun stock of a hunting rifle. And if 100% DEET can do that to plastic and varnish, it's hard to imagine it's the best thing for our skin. On the other hand, an insect repellent containing something like 29% DEET, I have not had any problem with. There are alternatives to DEET. For example, some repellents use natural oils like oil of lemon eucalyptus. I would not hesitate to use a repellent like that. Another ingredient is paramethrin, which I have read kills ticks on contact. Paramethrin can cause skin irritation in some, so I would keep an eye on that if you use it. It's also a good idea to frequently check yourself for ticks as often as you can. One tick encountered on the Appalachian Trail is the deer tick, and this tick is a carrier of Lyme disease. I have read that 300,000 people a year in the United States contract Lyme disease from deer ticks. I also read that one of the first symptoms is a painless target-shaped rash surrounding the bite. Not all infected people will get one of these. If Lyme disease is diagnosed early, it can be treated effectively. However, if it is not diagnosed in a timely manner, I have read, it has often caused bad long-term problems for some. The wood tick, often called the dog tick, can carry Rocky Mountain spotted fever. This is hard to diagnose and it is potentially fatal. Some cases are very severe, causing hospitalization. Also along the AT is the lone star tick. It can cause a variety of ailments accompanied by pain and fever, the worst one of which is called rabbit fever, and I have read that can be fatal. This particular tick I put in an empty pill bottle I had with me. I brought it home, I taped it to an index card to see if I could figure out what kind of a tick it is. There is a chance this might be a male deer tick, but I think it's a little more likely it is an immature lone star tick. One good thing about ticks, if we can say there's anything good about ticks, is the fact that they don't seem to be in a big hurry to bite us. Based on the ticks that I've had on me, it seems like they're content just to crawl around and check out the territory for a while before they decide to feed. So what do we do if we find a tick latched onto us sucking blood? The Center for Disease Control recommends that ticks be removed with a pair of thin-tipped tweezers grabbing the tick close to its head. I've put a link in the description that provides these instructions from the CDC. There are, of course, other biting and stinging insects along the Appalachian Trail. I always carry with me this very small bottle that contains ammonia. Placing ammonia on a bite or sting, for me, has always been a very effective way of relieving the sting, and I have had to use this stuff on the Appalachian Trail. I have not encountered mosquitoes on the Appalachian Trail, and that's probably because I was there at a time of the year and at elevations where they probably would not be found. Almost any commercially manufactured backpacking tent will contain netting that should keep a mosquito out. For those who use tarps and tarp tents, there are a variety of mosquito shelters that one can put inside that tarp tent or underneath that tarp that will enclose you and keep bugs from getting to you. Also on the Appalachian Trail, I always carry a pair of earplugs. My original thinking was I could use these if other hikers were making noise during the night, but as it turned out, the only time I really used them was at a spot where the trees were filled with insects, millions of insects that were screaming at about 90 decibels, and they started doing it about 10 o'clock at night and did it for about 8 hours. It was an unholy racket, and thanks to my earplugs, I slept through it. That's it. We're done. I hope I didn't give you the creeps too bad. But if you plan to hike hundreds of miles on the Appalachian Trail, I think this is information that can help. And as always, thanks for watching.